Welcome to episode 4 of my Essence of PKing series, and today we're going to be talking more in depth about PID, items lost on death, where to find fights, how to one-tick better, and a few tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. If you guys are liking the videos and have any ideas on what I could be doing to make them better, letting me know in the comments is super appreciated. That being said, let's get into it. As I said a few videos ago, PID isn't something people who just started PKing need to worry about. However, I thought I'd take a moment just to talk about the very real effect it has on fights. The best way to tell if you have PID is by looking at your arrows and when the hit splat shows up on your opponent. If you have PID, the hit splat will be slightly before the arrow actually connects with the opponent, and of course if you don't have PID, also known as the opponent having PID, your hit splat will show up slightly after the arrow hit occurs. Here are some examples. Here is an example of me having PID. In this example, you can see the hit splat of my arrow show up slightly before my arrow actually connects. In this example, they look very close to happening at the same time, but in comparison to not having PID, there's a huge difference. Noticing the timing of your arrow and the hit splat will take a little bit of time to learn. However, you don't really need to start using PID to your advantage until you can start noticing it consistently. And of course, here's an example of my opponent having PID. You can see that the hit splat for my arrow shows up much after my arrow actually connects. So why is this important, and why does it have such a big impact on the high-risk community? I'm going to show two examples of one-ticking AGS, just to show how without PID, your opponent can actually always eat through a combo. Here's an example of me having PID against my opponent and one-ticking an AGS. And what I want you to notice is how the moment that I pull out my AGS and spec, he already has the hit splat upon him, which means that he's going to have no time to react to the AGS visually. Notice that as soon as you see my character have it in his hand, the hit splat has already occurred. Look at this. This is the very first frame that he sees me pull out my AGS, and the 48 from my AGS has already showed up. That is why it's so powerful. And finally, here's the slow motion my AGS one tick when I do not have PID. Notice how my AGS is out for a very long time before the hit spike actually shows up and he gets dealt the damage. The 26 there happened so late, and in these frames of me wielding my AGS but not actually dealing the damage yet, your opponent can always eat up to whatever health they need to in order to survive the combo. It wasn't that I did it too slow or that I did the one tick incorrectly, I just didn't have PID. PID changes every time you hop worlds or log in, as well as a base 60 to 90 seconds whenever you stay logged in for a while. This doesn't necessarily guarantee that after waiting that 60 to 90 seconds, the opposite person in a fight will have PID. However, it recalculates the 50-50 chance of either person having PID. However, in a recent PvP update blog, Jagex did state that they were trying to make PID change every 24 to 36 seconds instead, so look out for that in the coming months. However, at the end of the day, PID is random, and there's really nothing you can do about it. The best thing to do is just be aware, and if you notice that you have PID over the opponent, try to maybe risk a little bit lower HP, because you know you can always eat in time for their combo. Someone asked about items lost on death and how untradeables work, and here's the basic rundown. As you all know, when you are unskulled, you keep 3 of your most valuable items according to their GE price, and while skulled, you lose everything. The protect item prayer, of course, however, can be used to add 1 more item onto those, so you would keep 4 items or 1 item respectively. However, certain untradeable items like the fire cape, void gear, and defenders are not lost in death, and instead they become broken, like this firefighter torso here. All of these items have a repair cost, which is listed on the old school wiki, which I'll link in the description. For example, if I die with my fighter torso and I don't protect it, I have to pay 50k to repair it. So I can just use my fighter torso on this armor stand here, which can be found on any respawn point in the PvP world, and I will have to pay 50k, and I can wear it again. You can also repair it at Perdu, who is north of the Edgeville Bank on most worlds, or inside the bank itself on the Bounty Hunter world. This is why when you kill someone who has untradeables, you get coins. These coins are 75% of the repair cost of the item, meaning if I kill someone with a fighter torso, I get 75% of the 50k he uses to repair it, or 37,500. There are a few items that work a little bit differently, like Barrow's gloves, for example, which instead of being repaired, just have to be bought again from the RFD chest. Strangely, however, Barrow's gloves only give 60% of the cash back to the killer instead of the normal 75%, and so the victor of the fight would get 78k, which is 60% of 130k, which is the price of Barrow's gloves. The last thing to know is that above 20 wilderness, all untradeables are lost completely unless protected, so make sure you don't bring your void or your fighter torso out into deep wild. Finding a fight is important just because you don't want to be running around for ages looking for someone to fight. Here are some popular places at PKing. The first one is obviously the Grand Exchange in the PvP world. There are just so many people here, so many people doing fights, and just find someone near combat level and ask them good luck. The next place is going to be Lumbridge. There's less people here, but if you're struggling to find a fight at GE, you can go here and find some people to fight. Another good place is the Varrock West Bank, or just Varrock Central, really. There are some people here. This is where a lot of peers do their breeding, and you can find people fighting here, especially over here by the bank. Another good place is going to be Edgeville. Edgeville has some people fighting outside, not too many right now, but usually you can find people out here. And then the last place on the PvP world, at least, is going to be right outside the Remington portal. Make sure when you go outside the Remington portal you have your protect item on, because people like to rush out here. Not anyone here right now. Well, I guess these people back here are in a fight, but you can find people out here. The other place to go is definitely going to be the Bounty Hunter world. And the Bounty Hunter world is a great place to start because a lot of other people are starting there. And if you get a kill, you have a chance of getting an emblem, which boosts the loot by about 130k, which is good. And so you're just going to gear up like normal and go north, into 2 or 3 level wild, and you will find other people just like you fighting there who are pretty new. Now I just have a few quick tips for you guys that are just going to make it a little bit easier to PK and a little bit more comfortable. This is a quick tip to help you one-tick your specs a little bit easier. If you can, try to use your mouse wheel to zoom in on your opponents so they're as close to your inventory as possible and have the biggest hitbox possible. This is going to make clicking on them a lot easier. So I can click on this guy pretty easily. He has a fairly big hitbox. However, if I'm zoomed out this far, not only is he quite small, I also have to have my mouse go all the way across the screen. And then melee fights, because we're very, very close. If he's using melee, if we're both using melee, I can zoom in all the way like this. And he basically takes up this whole section of the screen, which makes it really easy to one-tick. Meaning I can click on his feet, and it will still go off. Another tip I have for you guys is if you just finish a fight and you just tabbed out, go back to your house and you are out of prayer, out of food, out of spec, out of run, whatever it is, and you don't have the appropriate pool or altar, instead of waiting for everything to come back or eating up in your bank, what you can do is you can just switch to the house world, world 30, and then not only will this pop you right outside your house, right in front of all the people, you can also just go into someone's house. And it will, you can just use the ornate pool and then switch right back in and get into another fight. The last tip I want to say in this episode, guys, is about Rings of Recoil. They're actually severely underrated and will get you a lot more kills than you would think. And basically, in order to stop them from breaking mid-fight and me not noticing that they broke and not wearing a new one and end up missing out on that damage, what I like to do is just break a spare one before every fight, make sure that my recoil is at 40 points of damage. That way I don't miss out on the damage if I forget to equip a new one. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have anything that you think I could be doing it better, please let me know, but I cannot know what you guys are thinking without you telling me. Next video, I think I'm going to go over some complete fights and hopefully provide some insight into what exactly I'm thinking during a fight. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video for more content, and I will see you guys tomorrow.